There are different type of computer networks, such as personal area networks, which in its simplest form would be you transferring files from one phone to another phone using Bluetooth. Another one of our most basic networks would be a local area network, which is your typical home network or office network. And an example thereof would be you printing from your computer to a network printer. The next one will be a wireless local area network, or for short, a WLAN, which we all know as your Wi-Fi. And the last one we will discuss in this video is your wide area network, or your WAN. A wide area network is multiple networks connected to each other, like the internet, or a large corporate company which has multiple branches. Besides the endpoints we use to communicate on these computer networks, there are multiple devices that makes it possible to create a network. And to name a few of them, which is modems, routers, switches, and access points. I have a few laid out here and I will discuss each one of them. We'll start with modems. Modems translates the data from your internet service provider into a format your home or office networks can use. An example would be ADSL modem, which translates your telephone signal into a signal your router will be able to use. Or in this case, a mobile signal or 3G/4G signal into a format you can use on your local area network. Secondly, we have our routers. Your routers connects multiple networks together. An example thereof would be the internet being connected to your home or office network, which is two different networks. Thereafter, we have our switches. Switches creates local area networks, and they allow devices on the same network to communicate. Last but not least, we have our access points. Access points creates wireless local area networks, or as we know it, Wi-Fi. To use a computer network, you need an IP address. Most computer networks have a DHCP server that will dynamically apply these type of IP addressing settings to your devices. I mentioned modems and routers, and I was pointing out these devices when I was talking about both of them. This is because most of the devices we use in our homes and small offices is not just a router or a modem. They are all-in-one devices. They have multiple functions built in, such as this one. This is an ADSL router, but it has the modem function to translate the ADSL signal into a format we can use on our local area network. And it also has a router built in, so it can communicate between multiple networks. But that's not all. It also has an access point built in, which allows us to connect wireless devices to it. And lastly, it has a switch built into, so you can connect multiple devices using Ethernet cables. I'll show an example of one here. This is a very short cable just for demonstration purposes. So they have RJ45 connector points on each side. I'll show you in a later video how to make one of these cables yourself. The next one I wanted to show you was a 3G router or a 4G router, which is the same. It has a slot for the SIM card. So it has a modem built in to translate that mobile signal into a signal that we are able to use on our local area network. It also has multiple ports, which functions as a switch. So it has 4 ports for 4 devices on your local area network. It also has an access point built in, so you can connect wireless devices to it. But this is not all. These devices also have DHCP servers built into them, and they also have basic firewall functions which you can set to manage the traffic on your network. A device like this would be a dedicated router. This is a MikroTik router board. So it doesn't have Wi-Fi built into it, it doesn't have the modem built into it, it's only a router. This would be a dedicated switch. It only has the function to be a switch. Same as with this one, it's only a switch. And this device is only an access point. So it doesn't have a modem built into it, and it only allows for wireless, setting up wireless local area networks. The difference with these ones and having dedicated devices is more functionality and a more secure device instead of having all the functions on one device. Just to demonstrate to you a basic network, I'm not going to set it up, I'll just plug it in just to give you an idea of how it would work. Start with the most basic, which would just be your local area network. To demonstrate that, I'm not going to switch on anything, I just want to show you an example thereof. So I have my laptop over here, hope you can see that. I have a switch and I have a desktop. So in this case, like I mentioned to you, a switch creates a local area network. You'd have one cable going to your laptop and another one a little bit short, and another cable from your switch going to the back of your desktop. So there we have it, a local area network. The only thing that would be missing here in practice would be IP addresses. Like I told you, we would need IP addresses on both of these devices to be able to communicate. Since we don't have, in this case, in this setup I just showed you now, we don't have a DHCP server, so we would need to add IP addresses manually. But I'll show you this in a future video. For now, this is just for demonstration purposes. So if you did want to communicate with a wide area network, such as the internet or another network, you would need a router. So from your switch, plug it into port 8, just to separate the cables so you can see what I am doing. You would plug it into a router. So there we have a little router. We'll plug it into port 5. But now we're able to communicate with different networks. But to communicate with the internet, you would need an internet service provider. And to communicate with your internet service provider, you would need a connection from the service provider. There's multiple ways to connect to a service provider, like I showed you, such as ADSL, which is a telephone line connection, a fiber, there's a mobile connections such as 3G, 4G, 5G, and then you even get satellite internet. There's multiple ways. So you wouldn't be able to plug the satellite straight into your router or the SIM card directly into your router, unless you had a device like I showed you earlier. But just for demonstration purposes, we'll illustrate this with an ADSL modem. Let's forget all the function it has and just look at it as a modem for now. So from your modem, you would have a RJ11 connection, which is that small input over there that looks like a RJ45 Ethernet cable, but it just has a smaller point than this. So from your service provider, you'll get the cable going straight into your modem, and from your modem, you would have a LAN port going into your router, and there you have it. You have a computer network. So you are now able to communicate between your two devices, your computer and between your computer and your laptop, and you are also able to communicate with other devices on the internet. To simplify this, you will just unplug your laptop, unplug your desktop, and let's remove the switch. And let's remove our little router and let's just demonstrate what we have now today. So you'll have a connection from your internet service provider, which would be a telephone cable, like I mentioned, and then from your ADSL modem slash router, you plug your desktop directly into that. You could connect wirelessly with your laptop using the Wi-Fi, or you can also plug it into the ADSL router slash modem slash switch. So these devices will still be on the same local area network, and this built-in switch will allow us to communicate with the internet via the modem function. See, there's the TV, and that will also go directly to that cable splitter. I apologize for the bad quality over there. So the cable splitter just splits the connection from the service provider for the TV and the modem. Switching it on so you can see over there. The TV now works, and also we have an internet connection. In the upcoming videos, we'll go into more depth into the subject of computer networks. Feel free to leave your opinion in the comments and let me know if I missed anything. Thank you for watching Jason Does IT.